The most important thing in A/B testing is obviously to have traffic and to have sales. I see a lot of customers starting out and they don't really have enough traffic to have statistically significant tests.
Why do so many store owners chase more traffic instead of fixing their conversions?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and it's been asked a lot, and the answer is...
Hello and welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Coffee Break podcast. In e-commerce, nothing stands still. Customer behavior changes overnight. Competition is tougher than ever, and what worked yesterday might not work today. That's why experimentation, A/B testing is so important. Testing your site, your offers, and your customer experiences is no longer a nice to have. It's the fastest way to get more sales from the traffic you already have. In today's episode, we're talking about why experimentation is so important. My guest today on the show, Sergiu Cazac, he's the founder of Personalize, a platform that helps e-commerce brands boost sales with simple, powerful marketing tools. He's a lifelong developer who launched Personalize in 2018 to give marketers smart, faster ways to get results. We have a lot to cover, so let's dive right into. Hi, Sergiu, how are you today?
Hi, Klaus. I'm great. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
First question, why do so many store owners chase more traffic instead of fixing their conversions?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and it's been asked a lot, and the answer is not always the same. So I think people are always leaning towards the path of less resistance. So they learn how to bring traffic to the website. They know how to do that. So they lean to do the stuff that they already learn how to do. And they often forget, obviously, that there are leaky funnels, there are points on the side where they are losing traffic, where people that they bring, the more and more people that they bring can actually decrease conversions, because in time it can become a race to the bottom, because you can't have all the visitors in the world. And at some point, the traffic becomes worse and worse and the conversions lower. And it's counterintuitive, but people still keep on doing this because that's what they learned to do at the beginning. That's what the marketers, what the gurus are telling them. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now makes perfect sense. Now, a lot of stores out there, or most of the stores, they only convert like 2 to 3% of their visitors into customers. Why does that happen? Where does that happen?
First thing is, when speaking about these baselines, is always funny because it can be, sometimes I just had a customer today that said they have a 5.5 conversion rate, and they say they think it's good for them, but I think this can still optimize. Another store can have 2 and 5, and it can be very good for them, and it's like a top performing website. So first of all, these baselines are very customer or niche dependent. Speaking about why this stuff happens is because obviously I think the first thing that you have to think about when you think about conversion rate is you need to understand who are the visitors visiting your website. So that happens before the conversion on the website. So you need to understand, are you attracting the right audience? So first of all, so it even doesn't have anything to do with my specialization, but if you're attracting the wrong audience, no matter how many experimentation, no matter how much funnel optimization you're going to do, you're not going to get a good conversion rate from that audience. So first thing is you need to understand who are you targeting, who are your perfect customers, how you're bringing them to the website. It can be ads, partnership, whatever, depending on the niche, obviously. And once you already understand that you learned to bring good traffic to the website, targeted traffic that's actually interested in your offer, maybe they don't buy right away, but they may buy in the future, but still they have to be relevant. At that point is where we are starting to talk about the conversion rate and what the stuff that happens on the website. And there is where we start to optimize that 2.5, 3, 4% conversion rate. But before that, I think that conversation doesn't even make sense. So I think people have to start there.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned before that the customer journey starts much earlier in the funnel. So first touch point, then they go through the different steps until they reach the checkout. And we want to talk about experimentation. We want to talk about A/B testing. What's your approach to when you come to a new client, to a new store website? What's your approach when it comes to experimentation?
It's a very good question. And it's very interesting because we are getting customers who are sometimes just trying experimentation, and then we have agencies, and they always approach this thing very differently. And what we try to do, we want to teach our customers to also approach the things that a CRO agency would do. So first thing is to actually map the funnel. You probably won't believe this, but there are a lot of actually successful brands that don't really have the funnel mapped. So they don't really understand how people going from an ad or from, let's say, an Instagram post or a Google ad to actually making the purchase or at least initiating the checkout. So first thing is to actually map the funnel and understand what is the points that we can intervene in and actually improve and optimize. Once you have the funnel, obviously you want to have the conversion rates between the steps of the funnel. Another thing is definitely the customer analysis, the traffic analysis, because for example, if we're speaking about an A/B test, about a hypothesis, so you probably know that one of the most popular things is this trust pages or social proof. This is like the go-to thing, but it doesn't work for all audiences because if your audience is, let's say, 50 plus years old customers, for them, some of those trust signals might not be worth the same values that they are worth for someone younger. So you need to really understand like who is your audience and how are they actually using your website. And I think what we are trying to do with our customers when they just come to us and say, okay, I want to just A/B test this add to cart copy. We say, okay, let's just take a step back and see why you want to do this. Let's see how customers arrive into the website. Is this the right stage to be optimizing? And whether the change itself is relevant to the audience that you want to implement it with. And for this thing, I actually like a lot the levers framework from conversion agency. So there's a really great conversion optimization agency. They renamed to Gain now, and they have a levers framework. I recommend everyone to go and read it. It's an amazing piece of content where they describe how you can actually map the changes that you want to experiment on your website, and how when you have a good change or a good experiment, you can maximize upon that. And even if you have a bad one, you can use it to actually understand what are the points, what are the learnings from that experiment to actually apply and maximize the revenue in the future experiments.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a big difference, what you just mentioned, between just guessing and testing. I think a lot of brands out there, they're just guessing what they need to change, and they're not really tracking it. And I found very interesting that you mentioned that there are brands out there, and I can sort of understand they have no idea how their funnel looks like and where the traffic is really coming from. And so there's a lot of data points, obviously. Now, when we're talking about experimentation, I think a lot of brands out there, they're sort of scared or they think it's too complex to do A/B testing. I want to dive a little bit more into this. How would you or how do you get started with A/B testing on the new customer side?
Yeah, so I think like the most important thing in A/B testing is obviously to have traffic and to have sales. So I see a lot of customers starting out and they don't really have enough traffic to have statistically significant tests. And I just tell them that you probably have to go back a little bit and maximize the traffic that you're getting, because otherwise we don't get any traction. So this is the first point where customers are just coming too early. And if they're coming at the right time, and sometimes they said they're afraid that maybe the stats are going to lie, or they're afraid it's going to be hard to implement the test. So with us and our tool, and actually I think there are a lot of tools on the market where you actually just have to have the right hypothesis, and you choose the tool for the purpose, and that tool usually allows you to do the changes without any technical involvement. That's what we pride ourselves in. So at Personalize, we have very easy to use visual editors. They integrate very well with websites, especially with Shopify websites, as we have a deep integration with them, and we optimized our product since the beginning. We pride ourselves in that, into that the customer has to be able to basically sign up and set up a test in, let's say, 5 minutes. But still, a lot of times in A/B testing, we see that we still need to be near them, hold their hand, because some websites are very oddly built. Sometimes the changes that they want to implement are not actually worth implementing. So I think if you already have the experience, you can just log into the tool list your hypothesis, create the campaigns, and start testing. Just not too many tests at a time, for sure. And if it's something that you're just learning, I recommend to first, as I said, take a step back, analyze what you know about your audience, learn something about A/B testing from frameworks like the Lever framework, and then you can. Then when you log into an application like ours, everything is like eye-opening because it's so easy to implement. Everything is actually makes sense when you understand what you want to experiment. Because sometimes people go the wrong way. They get the tool to experiment because they know they need to experiment, but they don't understand what they can do, and they just take it from what the product can actually do. So they say, okay, the product offers button experimentation. Let me just test that. But that's not the correct approach. You go back from the hypothesis, and then you look for the tool for the purpose and the tool that makes it as easy as possible to implement those changes. And even though that might sound counterintuitive coming from the founder of a tool like this, I really love when customers are coming to us with actual ideas and hypotheses, and we happily brainstorm them with them, unless against when they come and they just know they have to A/B test because they heard somewhere about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think a lot of brands out there, they have heard about the concept of A/B testing, experimentation, but as you said, they don't have the experience, they don't have the background. And obviously, you help with that. Talk me through your tool. What kind of different areas can you test within a website, within the store?
I want to take a little step back and tell you that actually Personalize started as a personalization tool. And we focused on pop-ups and website personalization. And we just thought, and I still believe it is, that personalization is a very important part of the customer journey. But then we understood that any personalization, any pop-up, any widget on the website has to be A/B tested to actually prove that they're impacting your website in a good way and you're not losing conversions. And I was just listening to another podcast of yours today, and I heard about this pop-ups that opt-in pop-ups that actually can hurt your conversion, even that you think you are building your list, you can hurt the conversions. So I think that's when we understood that we have to add A/B testing at every step of what we build in Personalize. So first, we added personalization A/B testing, then we added pop-up A/B testing. And it's not just pop-up A/B testing, it's actual pop-up A/B testing where you can control against a control group, where you can test whether without a pop-up or without a pop-up generates more revenue. And this is very important because in A/B testing, I think conversion rate is good at some stages in the funnel, but in the end, the bottom line should be revenue and even better, profit. And that's where we pride ourselves as well, as we report on all of that. And a few years back, we decided that we have to actually step up our game and expand our product offering into a full-fledged conversion rate optimization suite where you can actually A/B test any piece of content, any price on the website, URL split A/B test. So we pretty much have it all when it comes to A/B testing. For some customers, it's important to have a JavaScript API. We got that. So you can test at code level. For some customers, they just want to redirect between two offers. We got that using URL split test. For some customers, they just want to test two different Shopify templates. It's very handy right now because the Shopify theme editor becomes better and better, and they can just build them there and use Personalize to run the tests. Some customers are migrating from an old theme to a new theme and have some agency telling them that they're gonna triple their conversion rates. But yeah, we offer them theme testing so that they can make sure that the revenue and the conversion rates are actually better on the new theme. And besides that, obviously we have our simple editor that you can use to run content tests and actually use a visual builder to change images, copy, buttons, and in all of what I've told here is obviously goes back to my idea that we give you all these tools, and in the end, if you have a hypothesis, you will know which of these tools you will need and which one will work better for each specific use case. And it's going to be very easy to implement when you know what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little about timing and data. a lot of merchants are right now still in the time of changing things on their website. And once it goes into Q4, they go into a sort of code freeze and try just to concentrate on selling. What's your approach? When's the best time to do testing? And for how long would you let it run?
Yeah, so in terms of timing, so my opinion is you have to be always experimenting. Especially you said Q4, so we have Christmas, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. People are kind of afraid to do major changes. But at the same time, the stuff that you learn during the other parts of the year might not be true during this time, because people who are buying during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and so on are usually people that might be dormant through the year in terms of buying, and they activate at that time. So it's still important to run A/B test during that time to extract learnings and apply them to next year promotions or maybe to other promotions, because in the end, any A/B test is a learning that you can then apply to actually maximize the revenue. And these learnings are as valuable in Q1 as they are available in Q3. So I think A/B tests should be run always. Obviously, don't start A/B testing from scratch when you're just learning in November. It's probably better that you start and learn the process and create actually a process in your company of experimentation earlier than that, so that when you come into this period, you're already ready. But still, don't stop experimenting, because it's very important. And in terms of how much a test should run, so I think there's various things that are circling around. So my suggestion is at least 2 weeks, because obviously a week, some might say a week, because you have Monday through Sunday. So all of this anomalies from day to day are being taken care of. But during 2 weeks, I think this is going to be enough to make sure everything is statistically significant. At the same time, obviously, you need to have enough traffic. You need to have, some say at least 200 orders. Obviously, it depends on the market, depends on your stats, but I think that's a pretty reasonable number to have in mind. But these are just like baselines at the beginning. Once you get into it, once you get working, once you get started, you already will know when to stop, when will be the time to start a new task, and these things will come naturally to you, as you will already have an idea of how your website, how your business responds to these experiments.
Okay. Can you share some success stories or case studies of businesses that have worked with your solution and what kind of results they saw?
Yeah, so as I said, we actually have a lot of case studies from the past with customers migrating from other platforms and using our pop-ups. And since this year, we started working on more case studies in terms of A/B testing. And what we loved were A/B tests with pop-ups, which can be a little bit counterintuitive for some people, because they think that they already optimize it to the maximum. They use tools like Klaviyo to run the pop-ups. But in Personalizely, and we have customers coming from Klaviyo to Personalizely for pop-ups only, they have the ability to actually track the impact of the widget on the revenue. So we actually had interesting tasks where people understood that they are actually worsening the conversions and bringing less revenue. So for me, this is still a good task. This is still a good learning. And you just look at this and try to understand, is it still worth running this pop-up? Should I update maybe the message, maybe create a better offer, or maybe hide the offer altogether, or maybe change the discount? So a lot of these questions start to arise in your head when you understand, when you see this data. And I don't say that you don't have to run this pop-up or this customer. From our work with him, he still kept on running the pop-up. We just adjusted the kind of pop-up, the kind of offer that he had, so that it doesn't hurt the conversion, but at the same time, he still is building his list. So I think it's an interesting learning. We also have, again, a lot of customers running conventional tasks. So a lot of tasks like hero sections on the landing pages, offerings. So, for example, subscription versus no subscription, and how well it converts. And what's interesting here is for subscription A/B testing, you shouldn't be taking into account only the first sale, but all the sales that come after. And we had customers who have run successful subscription tasks, and even if at the beginning they show as losing ones, because usually when you offer a subscription, you give a discount so that they kind of jump onto your subscription. At the beginning, you look at the data, it's a losing test, but as time passes, they make the second purchase, third purchase, fourth purchase, fifth purchase, and then you see that the revenue is much higher than for a simple test. So this is an interesting finding that we had with our customers, and actually lots of other interesting cases. But as I said, what I also love to see besides winning tests is I love seeing losing tests and then using that learning to create much better tests and understand why it was losing and maybe maximize onto what we learned from here.
It just made me smile, and it's good that you highlighted this. Obviously, you're learning also from losing tasks and from losing results. I had that in my own business a while ago. I tried to optimize, and it completely backfired. Yeah. So the first version was much better, and that's a learning curve. That's why it is A/B testing. So for our listeners, it's not always getting a better and better and better version. Sometimes you get a version that is just not as good, and then you have to restart and you learn from it. Now, who's your perfect customer?
So our perfect customers are D2C brands that have more than 50,000 visitors per month on their websites, usually doing more than 100K per month. Most of our customers are in US, Europe, and Australia. So we try to work with this kind of customers. A lot of times, customers that are on Shopify that use Klaviyo and tools like Elevar and others are a signal that these customers might be a good fit. So we use this data to kind of understand that these people are already advanced in their journey. They already optimize a lot of things. They already track things very well. So here comes a step where they need to optimize the actual stuff that's happening on the website.
Mm-hmm. Walk me through the typical onboarding process of a new brand. What steps are involved? How long does it take to get up and running?
Yeah, so as I said at the beginning, it's one of the things that we pride ourselves in. So we are a pretty lean team, and we always thought about our product as a self-serve as possible. So you can get started with Personalize. And we at each step of the way, we have kind of like a wizard where you choose what you want to do. So at product level, we try to make it as easy as possible to start the task. So it's actually taking just 2 to 3 clicks to set up a simple task. And oftentimes that's enough. But again, with A/B testing, we love to be proactive a little bit. We love to kind of jump in and help the customer and see whether what they're trying to do actually makes sense. So we try to be like an extension of this self-serve onboarding process where, as I said, they can start a task in 5 minutes, but we try to hold their hand and make sure that what they're doing is correct.
Yeah, I like this approach because I think not everyone comes with a full-blown experience on what they want to do and what kind of idea they want to test. And then having someone on your side that helps you with that is a good idea. Now, tell me about your pricing structure. How does that work?
Yeah, so our pricing is based on the number of visitors that you have on your website. And we have basically 2 tiers. So the essential tier is based basically for customers that want to just get started, run some pop-ups, run some little widgets on the website, maybe surveys their customers and understand those data points that are very important into the subscription step. And then we have the premium plan where you have everything included. And all of this is tiered by the number of visitors that you have. So the more visitors you have, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. And we a lot of times have the objection that we should bill based on the visitors that actually see the test, because some customers are only running the test on a single page. And what we answer to that is that you should be actually testing as much as your website as possible. And if you do that, this number is always going to be very close to your total number of visitors. And with customers that actually use our platform to the maximum, I think it totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Sergio, before our coffee break comes to an end today, is there anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
I don't think I have like a specific golden nugget for them, but I want to say that to all the e-commerce operators and marketers to always be experimenting, to always take care what tools you use, and as I said, always try to find the right tool for the purpose. Try to look at your data. Don't lose faith when you see a losing experiment, because it's still a win unless you stop after it. And keep on experimenting, and in the end, I think you can maximize the value of the business as much as possible.
Totally. Where can people go to find out more about you guys?
Yeah, so you can find Personalizely at personalizely.net. We also own the Shopify App Store. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Sergiu Cazac, and on Twitter or x.com. Happy to connect and hopefully teach you more.
Cool. I will put all the links in the show notes as always, then you're just one click away. Sergio, thanks so much for giving us an overview. I'm a big fan of testing and experimentation. I do this every day, and the learning's coming every day. And even I'm doing this for 25 years, there is always space to learn something new about your customers, about your funnels, and about the things that you over-optimize and backfire. So I think a lot of people just should reach out to you, learn about it, and learn about their own business, and hopefully get better conversion rates. Thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Klaus. That's great.